tell us just your best youth sports memory that you can remember.
Best sports. I would say just being free. I played I played multiple sports. I was uh, I was the oldest. I've got two other younger siblings, and I just lived and breathed sports. And soccer was obviously my most you know prized sport and possession that I was obsessed with. But I always just wanted to play sports. My younger sister, she was more into socializing and dolls and hanging out with friends, and it was just me and the ball. And that's my fondest memory, is just playing in the backyard, going to the park, um, just having fun. Purely for the passion and the love of it.
So, Carli, let's dig into that a little bit. And I'd love for you just to kind of tell us. I read where you started playing soccer at 5, but can you just kind of walk us through your childhood as related to sports? And you said you played multiple sports. Can you just kind of start at an early age and walk us through that progression?
Yeah, so I started playing soccer at the age of 5. My parents just signed me up for it in our local town. I grew up in a really small town in New Jersey, Delran, New Jersey. A very working class neighborhood, blue collar mentality. Everybody knew everything about everybody. My parents had no background of soccer whatsoever. My dad, played baseball, and I think my mom was a cheerleader, which it's a bit debatable if that's a sport or not. But she was proud of that. There was no soccer for her to sign up for when she was younger. So yeah, I started playing at the age of 5. From what people tell me from a young age, I had something special about me. And as soon as I was introduced to the game of soccer, it was my first love, my first passion. Everywhere I went, I brought a soccer ball. My parents, believe it or not, never bought me a soccer goal to put in our backyard, which is wild because nowadays I feel like kids get every piece of equipment. And I keep telling the parents and the kids, it's not about what you have, it's the environment you create. And so I used to be on the kind of the side of our house. We lived on a corner house in our town, and I used to get creative. I used to bend the ball around a tree. I used to imagine a goal there. And then when I actually wanted to shoot into a goal, I would walk down to the local field and take shot after shot after shot, which I don't think is a coincidence that I always loved shooting from distance, and had a pretty good shot growing up. I used to kick the ball against the curb in our front yard. The curb was obviously, pretty small, so the margin of error, if you miss, you got to go chase the ball into the yard. So, yeah, that's where it all began, and it wasn't just soccer. I played softball. I swam on our local swim team till I was 18. Basketball, I played up until my junior year of high school, and played any other sport. If we were out with the neighborhood kids, I was throwing a football and we were playing football. If everybody was playing some roller hockey out in the street, I was doing that. I was constantly just introducing myself to all sports. And in gym class growing up, I got very competitive, and there's a lot of sweating going on. I had to get back into my clothes after I changed into gym class, but that's when my juices started to flow. And yeah, I mean, I just was a multi-round athlete, but soccer, was always the number one sport for me.
So you said it became apparent at a pretty early age that you had something special in soccer. Was that just athletic ability, and did that show up in other sports as well? I mean, were you one of the better players in any sport that you played?
Yes, definitely. I would say I think and this is an interesting thing. Is this a learned trait to some degree? Is this something you're kind of born with? I just had this ability to not care if I failed at something. If I took a shot from the halfway line and, midfield, and I missed completely, I would try it again and I would do it again and again and again. And so I think the idea of not, not, quitting after I can't do something for the first, second, or third time, um, was indicative of, just kind of how I was as a player back then. I mean, I would try any and all things. I would take risks. Um, Maybe those risks were, the worst thing in the world sometimes, but at that age when you're young, you've got to have the freedom to be able to do those things, try those things. But with anything, whether it was throwing a football, if I couldn't throw a football and have a spiral, I would just keep doing it and keep figuring it out until I could do it. And so I think that kind of creates, um, that burning desire within to want to be good at something. And it was every sport, whether we were climbing a rope in gym class, I was going to make sure I was getting to the top before everybody else. Whether it was dodgeball, I was going to make sure I was the last one standing. So I think that the idea of, not getting discouraged about failing or messing up really kind of laid that foundation for me, and I just kept coming back for more to be able to grasp it.